All right, guys, today we are going to look at um, reflections. Reflections day 2. Let me get there. All right, awesome. All right, so today we are going to look at the rules for reflecting. So our first question says the vertices of a triangle are listed below. Draw the figure and its reflection in the y-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that original figure, which is at -3, 4. Right, that was A. 1, 3 was B. And then -1, -2 is C. So I'm going to draw that triangle. All right, so remember when we're reflecting, we are going across the y-axis here. So if C is 1 point to the left of the y-axis, C prime is going to be 1 point to the right. If B is 1 to the right, B prime will be 1 to the left, and A is 3 to the left, so A prime will be 3 to the right. All right, so if you look at those new coordinates, A prime is located at 3, 4. B prime is located at -1, 3. And C prime is located at 1, -2. So if you're comparing the coordinates from the original, right, from the pre-image to the image, what happened is the x values are the opposite. And the y values stayed the same. So if we were thinking about that as a rule, right, xy became the opposite of x and then y. All right, so looking at the next one, right, if we were going to plot our original, we're at -3, 4, right, was A, 1, 3 was B, and -1, -2 was C, right? So we have that same triangle. And this time we're reflecting it across the x-axis. So if we reflect across x, well, C is 2 points below, so it needs to go 2 points above. B is 3 points above, so it needs to go 3 points below. And A is 4 points above, so it needs to go 4 points below. So our new coordinates here are -3, -4. B is at 1, -3. And C is at -1, 2. So in this time, the x value stayed the same. And the y values are the opposite. Okay, so this time, our rule, xy, right, moved to, so x stayed the same and y was the opposite. I'm going to go ahead and copy our rule above from when we reflected across y, right, xy was the opposite of x, and y stayed the same. All right, so looking at the example here, right, we're going to try to figure out what line it was reflected over. So in A, right, for this one, I can see that this is the opposite of x, right, and y stayed. So the opposite of x and y stayed means it was reflected across the y-axis. Right? The next one, x stayed. And this is the opposite of y. So that means it was reflected across the x-axis. In C, that was the opposite of x. So that's across the y-axis. And in D, that is the opposite of both. So it was reflected over the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, it was both. All right, so now, oh, sorry guys, my picture got cut off here. I'll try to sketch in what it looked like. All right, so that went just one more. Oh, that actually. Okay, so that was M, and then P was one below. Okay, so that's what my picture looks like. So this time it's a reflect over the line y equals 2. Okay, so when we have y equals, it is going to be a horizontal line. So I am going to go on my y-axis to y equals 2. And I am going to draw a horizontal line at that point. Okay, so I'm going to reflect this across the line y equals 2. Okay, so just like we did before, I'm just going to count to see how many points above or below I am so I know where to plot my new point. So M is 2 below that line, so M prime is going to be 2 above. Z is 1 above, so Z prime will be 1 below. P is 1, 2, 3 below, so it'll be 1, 2, 3 above. And D is 2 above, so it will be 2 below. So that is my new picture. All right, on the one next to it, it says reflect the image over the line x equals -1. So if we have x equals, that is going to be a vertical line. All right, similarly, let me finish drawing that picture. That was just here, and that point was Q. All right, so if I have the point, if I have the line x equals -1, on my x-axis, I'm going to put a point at -1, and this is a vertical line, so that line is going to go up and down. All right, so this time if I'm reflecting, I'm counting left and right. So L is 2 points to the right, so L prime will be 2 to the left. G is 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 points to the left. And then Q is 5. So Q will end up 5 points to the left. And that will be my new image. All right, this time, instead of drawing the image, we are going to draw the line of reflection. So where would that line need to go so that if you folded it, it would match on top of the other one? So for that first picture, right, that line needs to go directly in the middle of those two shapes. So I just drew a vertical line. So a vertical line tells me my equation is going to be x equals. And this is at -2. So my line is at x equals -2. Okay, for example, B, okay, my line is actually going to go directly through that point, X and X prime, right? If it's folded over that point, those images are going to match. So in this one, I also drew a vertical line at X equals -2. All right, for the examples below, for C, okay, in order to get that image, I would need to draw a horizontal line. Let me switch colors here. So this horizontal line would be here. So this one, anytime it's horizontal, it would be y equals. So this is y equals 0, or you could call this the x-axis. And then for D, that would also be a horizontal line, right? That's going to go directly through B and B prime. So since it's horizontal, it's going to be y equals. And this one, I was 2 below the x-axis. So this would be at y equals -2. All right, if you need to go back and rewatch this video, feel free to do so if any of the parts were confusing or you were stumped. Otherwise, you can return to the agenda and work on your next activity. Make sure all these notes are written in your notes packet. All right.